All right, children, welcome back to AP Macroeconomics with your favorite teacher, me, Mr. Fritz. Today we're going to be talking about the business cycle. All right, so the business cycle, all it really is just the cycle of the economy. Sometimes we're doing good, sometimes we're doing bad. What this curve represents here, this upward sloping curve, that's our potential output or potential real GDP. Over time, our economy is going to grow as our population increases and our capital goods and technology and stuff like that increases. Over time, our GDP is going to be growing. This line right here represents our potential real GDP. Over time, our potential real GDP is going to be increasing. Because over time, our population is going to be growing, our technology is going to be increasing, we're always going to be getting better at making things. However, there will be times when our growth is going to be happening very quickly or outpacing our potential growth. And there's going to be other times when our growth rate is going to be slowing down and we might actually be shrinking. So, our real GDP is increasing over time. However, there's times when we're doing great, times when we're doing bad. The times when we're not doing so great are going to be called a recession. This is when our GDP is falling and not increasing or not growing at as quick of a rate as it used to. And there's going to be times when our GDP is growing more quickly than we thought it was going to be, and we would be in an expansion. The two most important parts here are a recession and an expansion. So this curve here, this line again, represents our potential output or potential real GDP, also known as full employment output. This is the amount of stuff that we should be able to make if we're only experiencing the natural rate of unemployment. Remember, natural rate of unemployment is frictional unemployment plus structural unemployment. And those together are our natural rate of unemployment. When we're experiencing our natural rate of unemployment, we are at full employment output. Full employment does not mean that everybody has a job. It means that we're only experiencing the natural rate of unemployment. Anytime that our actual output is greater than or less than our potential output, we're in what's called an output gap. All it means is that we're either making less than we should be able to make at full employment, or we're making more than we would expect to make at full employment, or we're beyond full employment. And so like say the natural rate of unemployment is 5%. If we were beyond full employment, we would have 4% current unemployment. Where the natural rate is 5%, we're at 4%, so we're actually below the natural rate and doing great. The second you get fired, like 5 people offered you a job. So something like that. Okay, when our actual GDP or our current output is less than our potential output and the economy is shrinking, we're in a recession. This is when your production is decreasing. Remember that P in GDP is production. So the amount of stuff you're making is decreasing. During a recession, because of that, you're going to have high unemployment and low inflation. Prices are going to come down because no one has a job, no one's buying anything, and your unemployment rate's going to go up because businesses aren't making stuff. They're not going to keep paying people to come in and work and not actually make things. When your actual output is greater than your potential real GDP or your full employment output, you are going to be in what's called an expansion. During an expansion, our unemployment rate is going to get really low and go below the natural rate of unemployment, and your inflation is going to get really high. As everybody has a job and everybody's buying stuff, prices are going to keep rising. The peak and the trough are really just the turning points in the business cycle. So the peak would be the last good day before the recession starts and everything gets terrible. Your trough is going to be the last terrible day before the expansion starts and everything's great again. That's the two easy parts. The two most important parts that you really need to think about are the expansion and the recession. Because that's the thing that the government and the Federal Reserve are going to be working on fixing. In the next video, we are going to move into aggregate supply and aggregate demand. Oh my God. Goodbye, children.